the biggest thing is you have to start small. You can't like this becomes very overwhelming. How many of you on here be like, I'm not ready to hire somebody. I don't even know what I would hire them on. I don't even know what the hell I would do, Brock. I don't even know what I don't know. And that was really the biggest problem I had when I was trying to take that next step. And I see some of you nodding your head and, Dan, I'm always a big person in the chat, but it's not my show, so I won't clog up your
Clog it up,
chats.
my
But I
man. Clog
always
it up. It
love.
is your show.
Okay, so put a five in the chat. Put a five in the chat. If I just spoke to you in reference to like, I think I want to hire somebody. I'm not too sure if I want to hire somebody. Boy, I really would love to hire somebody. I just don't know where to go and how this works and everything else. And where like there's so many unknown territories when it comes into this. So some of you got some fives in here are just like, so I'm speaking to some of you on here. And the key ingredient that I found out is I started small when I brought on my VAs. So I started VAs literally 3 years ago, and I really wasn't too sure. I went into a room. I spent $10,000 to go into this coaching program for 6 hours to be able to learn what it took to become around seven-figure earners. And what I learned is they leverage a lot of things. But I wasn't ready for leverage and they kept saying VAs, VA, VAs. And I was like, why do they need a VA loan? Like, I don't get this. Why do they need this VA loan? And I was like, oh, virtual assistant. Okay, interesting. And so I started to write down all the places. So my first homework that for you all that are on here, the first tactical thing is where would you hire somebody? What are some places that you find that weaknesses in of like where I need work to be done? Would it be my MLS? Would it be cold calling? Would it be the iSpeed for lead, which I do use iSpeed for lead? Would it be transactions? Would it be wherever it is that you feel, boy, it'd be really nice to have somebody and leverage somebody else. Just like Dan leverages with his VAs and his team, he leverages that so he can work on what he's really good at. If you're looking for anything besides reading Dan's book, is understand yourselves. And I like to use the Six Geniuses by Patrick Lenciani. And that's how I learned about my work behaviors to see where I'm weak and where I'm strong in. And I hire my weaknesses. So the first thing besides writing down where your weaknesses are, is really understanding yourself and taking some assessments and doing different things and then saying, okay, what can I afford? What is a budget that I can do or not do? And so I would take a look at really yourself and what that is. And I started my first VA. My first VA was $4 an hour and she worked full time. That was my first hire that I did. Today, I have five virtual assistants that work on my team personally, and I have 33 in my company. But I had to build it up. I didn't just hire five. I did one at a time. And then once we realized, like, hey, I need a need here, and somebody's going to ask me, which I'm open, I'll answer any question that somebody has. Like, what do they do? Who does what each person do? And I have no problem answering that and help that out. But I want to lean into Dan because Dan, I want you to ask me questions where you feel the audience is going to be best suited. But I really start small, find out where your greatest weaknesses are, be vulnerable, admit to it, and ask other people like Dan, hey, Dan, what do you use? How do you use them? How do you apply them? Because you, just like I did, you want to be able to learn from other people so you can apply it for your business.
Brooke, I'm curious, how much does it matter that you have an awareness of yourself before you look for support?
So that really is the biggest thing is so many people. So I was a school teacher for 12 years, an assistant principal, and I hired hundreds of teachers. And I interviewed a lot of people. And what happens is in our business as a 1099, we don't really know how to hire people. Our job is not to hire people because we'd be in human resources, right? So we really don't know what we are hiring. And so what happens is we just hire anybody that looks good, talks good, and sounds good, and we're just like, yeah, that's great. But we don't understand our own self and our weaknesses of where we're not really good at and our personalities. And so it's very important that we have to understand ourselves during this time period. That's why I said that one of the assessments, the six geniuses, the DISC assessment, the five love languages, These are all assessments that I personally take. So then I understand, like, hey, I'm not really good at following through. I'm really good at solving problems, but not following through. And so that's very important when you're hiring. You want to be able to ask them or have them take these assessments. So when you're hiring them, they will fit into your team, into your mold of what you're trying to look at. Just like in relationships, like, wow, I'm divorced. And so my new relationship is like, wow, this seems so easy. Well, this relationship, I understand myself. I understood her love language, and I started applying my love language onto her. And it's the same thing in business. I started to work with people who can help me grow my business where I'm weak at, and I don't want to go into their lane, and they enjoy the lane that I'm not good at. So it works really well. So understanding yourself is so, so important.
How often do you talk to your virtual assistants?
So I talk to them more times than they probably want. But every day we have a team meeting. So every day we do a team meeting. We used to do it at 8:45, but as you know, I do a podcast show from 8:15, 8:45, and sometimes it runs over, then we're behind. We're like, gosh, we're starting our first meeting, we're always like behind. So we shifted it to 11:45. So from 11:45 to 12:15, I meet with them every single day, and we use the Slack, which is one of the programs for communication. So we use Slack constantly, all the time throughout the day to stay in communication. It's on my phone, and I have a senior admin who manages a lot of it. But I mean, I didn't have this at all. The only thing I could do was meet,
Hmm.
and so we would communicate. I'm very big on over communicating, and that was something that I could do.
So, last question, and because we're way off schedule right here, so I want to respect the other speakers that are getting bumped later and later. So, when you, what advice would you have for somebody who has never hired a virtual assistant before, has never hired anybody before, whether that's to mow their grass or clean their house or whatever the case may be? Or maybe they have done it before. What advice would you give them specifically? Like, what would you say avoid this?
I mean, first and foremost, you got to go with experienced people. Find somebody else who's doing a VA. Find somebody else who's hired somebody and ask them questions. Like, for example, like you and I both, I know we both have VAs. There might be somebody else on here. When I'm looking to grow and explore, like I'm getting ready to do SEO stuff for blogging. I went to a conference in Florida 2 weeks ago, and I learned about SEO blogging. I don't know anything about SEO blogging. So my questions to the person who was presenting, I said, "Hey, how did you start? What did this look like? How much time did it need? What cost is this?" I did a lot of intake of like absorbing all their questions because they're doing what I want to do. So first identify somebody who's doing something that you want to do. And if VA hiring is that, identify that person and ask them a lot of questions. And then when I asked the CEO blogging person, I said, "Do you have a VA that does this? Because I would hire this out." And she says, "No, I don't, but I know somebody who does. Let me get you in touch with this guy, Dan, who's in Florida." And guess what? Now Dan and I are talking, and he has a VA, and he's teaching me and telling me this is how he does his prompts. This is how he engages. This is how he does his workflow. This is his time period. So if there's anybody who's really interested in leveraging your business, identify somebody that you are leaning into, striving to become. They're running their business like you. Their alignment was with you. Their spiritualness with you. Their values are with you. And have a conversation with them. Reach out to them. Find them on Dan's program here. Screenshot and be like, "Hey, you know what, Kendra? I saw you in San Diego. Now you're in Puerto Rico. I've been thinking about moving to Puerto Rico. Could you tell me a little bit about that process, your story? I love to have a conversation with you." Kendra doesn't even know me, but I gotta believe she would have no problem being like, "Yeah, sure, Brock. I'd love to talk to you a little bit about." She's nodding her head right now. She's like, "Yeah, I would." And I don't even know Kendra. It's that simple. All you just gotta ask people, and most successful people have no problem helping other people because they needed somebody else to do the same thing for them. So that would be my main thing is identify somebody, reach out to them, find out who they are and ask them questions and then get in the right rooms with those type of people.